Hello and welcome to Dive into Ansible. My name is James Spurrin. I'm your instructor for this course and my qualifications and background. For the last 20 years, I've worked in the IT industry and I've worked for a variety of companies including Nomura, Goldman Sachs, Dell EMC, Hitachi and Virgin Internet. I studied software engineering at Liverpool University. I've completed the Cloud Native Compute Foundation qualifications of Certified Kubernetes Administrator and Application Developer. I'm an advocate for open source software and I'm the creator of XML Dataset, a library for handling XML featured on the Awesome Python list. I'm also the maintainer of a popular Docker image for another open source software project called Hexo, a framework for creating static websites. I'm the author of this course. The previous version, known as Mastering Ansible, was released at the start of 2018. This version updates and refreshes the entire course and brings with it a fantastic lab experience where Ansible and all of the associated lab hosts are accessible from your web browser. Newer versions of Ansible and the switch from Python 2 to Python 3. I'm also the founder of this company, Dive Into, and will be offering more courses in the future. In the bottom right hand corner are my LinkedIn details, and I very much welcome all contact. This course is hands-on and is provided with a concise library of examples that we'll work through, diving in at the beginning and emerging as an Ansible expert. You're free to use these resources in the best way that suits you. Each folder houses a fully working example that can be used directly. Alternatively, you can use these as references whilst you create your own content. The lab environment provides us with a fully working Ansible control host and 6 Linux machines, 3 of which being Ubuntu, another 3 being CentOS, all manageable from tabs within your web browser. We've intentionally used different variations of Linux so that we can utilize the power that Ansible provides as a configuration management tool. This environment is built upon Docker, and if you've not used Docker before, the setup and all required information is covered as part of the course. Course content. We're currently in the first section, and after this overview, we'll start with an introduction to Ansible. Next, we'll install Docker, a requirement for our lab environment. We'll configure the Ansible lab. We'll set up a trusted relationship between our hosts with SSH, and we'll configure the course code repository. In section 3, we'll look at Ansible architecture and design. We'll start by configuring Ansible, where we'll make use of the awesome Ansible command line tool to validate and test our configuration. We'll also look at inventories and modules and how we can interact with modules direct from the command line. In section 4, we get started with playbooks. We'll take a look at YAML, the various sections of a playbook, the use of variables and facts, how to use templating with Jinja 2, and we'll create and execute a fully fledged web server and website project with Ansible. In section 5, we'll take a look at some of the more common playbook modules. We'll look at dynamic inventories, both how to use them and how to create them, the use of register and when for capturing information, the various ways of using loops. We'll look at the performance aspects with different means of execution such as asynchronous, serial, and parallel, task delegation, i.e. how to make a task run on a specific target, Ansible's magic variables, Ansible blocks, and the Ansible Vault for securing information. In section 6, we'll see how we can structure Ansible playbooks through the use of includes and imports, tags that will allow us to reuse specific entities, and roles where we can break out tasks into reusable components. In Section 7, we'll make use of popular areas with Ansible such as AWS and Docker. In Section 8, we'll create our own modules and plugins. Section 9 covers other Ansible resources and areas such as troubleshooting. Lastly, Section 10 is supplementary, and within this are other resources you may find useful. Join me in the next video, Introduction to Ansible.